Welcome to Addressing the Corridor, the podcast with your monthly dose of real estate insight tailored to life here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and the surrounding communities, one address at a time. I'm Lisa Coots-Schooley, your host and licensed realtor. Our episode today, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Karra Garcia. We had a great time discussing how we do CMAs and market analysis, when's the best time to sell your house, and tune into our podcast to find out why we had to wear hats. With that, here's my conversation with Karra Garcia. Welcome back, Karra Garcia.
Hi.
Karra was here. You did the first podcast with me.
With no makeup.
With no makeup because you had forgotten, kind of. And it was just going to be a practice run for us for Addressing the Corridor.
I thought it was audio only.
And you thought it was audio only.
Yeah.
So I promised you that I would have you back on, and welcome back.
Thank you.
So the reason that we're both wearing hats today is Karra went to the hairdresser on Tuesday, was it? To get your hair colored?
Monday.
And to get ready for the podcast because we're filming and all that, and this is your second chance and things are great. And then what happened?
I wanted to redeem myself, but he screwed up and now my hair is purple.
So when you told me, you sent me pictures, you're like, oh my gosh, my hair's purple. What am I going to do? It's like, we're going to roll with it.
We're going to wear hats.
We're going to wear hats. So, what do? You just go with the flow. That's what makes you a good realtor.
Truly.
Is going with the flow and just rolling with the punches. So,
yep.
This is no big deal.
Show goes on.
The show goes on. So welcome back. Glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Got a lot of feedback from our first podcast, even though, it was just a practice run. And after we recorded it, Logan's like, hey, I think it's good enough to do it. So I appreciate you coming back.
You'll have to have me back again so I can actually redeem myself.
You look great. So don't worry about it. I want to kind of hit on listings today. I know you list a lot of houses. I list a lot of houses. And I think this is a great time of the year to start talking about it because I've been to a few houses last month that they're wanting to get on the market for spring, and they want to know what they need to do to get the house ready. Mm-hmm. So they have all winter to do it or whatever. So I guess, when people call me and their first question is, I just really need to know what I need to do to get the house ready. Mm-hmm. So what do you usually tell your clients? And, what do you think's one of the most important things to do?
I think a lot of people say, well, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that because whoever's going to move in might not like it or they might want to change it. I do not underestimate painting.
Agreed.
I think paint and clean needs to be.
I think clean is probably number one.
Clean. It has to, and painting goes along with that because if it's, scuffed up or just old or, sometimes the sun comes in and fades things. And if it's, I don't care really what color it is, neutral and clean.
Yes. And I think a big overlooked, and this is kind of the toughest thing to tell a client is your house stinks. But it is one
so
of the
hard. It's
your first impression. You open that door and it's like, so how do you tell your client? I mean, it's a hard thing to do because when you live in the house, you can't really tell.
You don't notice. Yeah. It just smells like home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they really look at us to tell them is my feeling, and you can do it nicely. And so what do you usually say?
I usually try to use like a past example. So
I like that.
Yeah, I'll bring that up at a time that's not related. So their mind already kind of gets going that direction and just say like, hey, I had this one house where they had, cats or whatever. And we got a lot of feedback from agents and buyers alike saying the smell was overpowering or something. So, be aware that that could be a factor. And do we need to, you might need to shampoo or whatever. I mean, I can just say whatever and using that example instead of talking about their home.
I like that.
And then later on, when we actually are sitting to go over their home or the listing paperwork or whatever, then we can kind of bring up those subjects again, and it's less touchy and I make it like it's everyone's home.
Yeah.
Because it almost is.
Well, true. Right.
It's not always like a foul odor. Other odors are offensive to different people. Everyone is sensitive to something different.
Yeah. Yeah. I've walked in as the buying agent to a house, and the house is like empty, but there's candles burning. Like they've left candles just burning. And that's kind of a red flag right there to, it's like, why do you have candles burning when you've left the house?
Or overpowering plugins.
Yes.
It's like, whoa, and you don't know what's under it. But I can identify it. You can smell like urine or whatever it is.
You can.
Yeah.
I walked into a house one time and I looked down at the vents and they had put dryer sheets in the vents.
Hey, they have this thing. It's like a furnace filter.
Yeah.
But it's scented. Oh. That just goes in that way, so you don't really see anything. It just blows through.
Which is kind of nice.
And it's light.
Yeah.
But that can be offensive to someone.
Well,
if they don't like vanilla, if they don't like cinnamon, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Even cleaning products can be offensive.
Yeah, I agree. I do know like one house that I looked through, and it was an investment special, and the contractor was going to be the buyer, and he walked through, and it was so overpowering. He's like, we would have to sand the wood at least 1/4 of an inch down just to get rid of the smell.
I've had one like that too, where I called the carpet cleaner in and they said, we've been here before, not to this house, but to this situation.
Got it. Okay.
And we couldn't get it out. And it was food.
Oh,
like grease.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think that's huge. I think I tell my clients too, you're going to be moving anyway. Just start packing and remove like 75% of your stuff.
Fabrics and curtains and
or just even your knickknacks. Get them packed away. Even if your shelves look sparse to you, it's good to be decluttered.
Space is luxury.
Yes, it is, and so that's always something I tell them. And then we get professional pictures taken of the home, so kind of I always like to accompany the photographer over there and kind of move their stage or whatever while he's shooting pictures if I need to, or
I didn't show up one time and it was the biggest regret.
Why?
Well, they were taking pictures. There was like towels over the shower and they didn't pull them down, and I thought, okay, never again.
And toilet seats need to be closed.
I have to be there. To be an eye and be pulling things down and moving things around and pulling trash cans.
Because we do it a lot. They do too. I mean,
they're like not allowed to touch things.
That's true. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you always ask the homeowner, is it okay if I'm there or whatever? And sometimes the homeowner's there with us too. So that helps if things need to be moved. Or I always, this is a good time to talk about like decoration too.
Well, let's back up one step though.
Okay.
Because there's another controversy with the ionizers.
Okay, the ozones?
The ozone things, yeah.
Okay, what is it?
So I bought one, actually. I own one, so my clients don't have to rent one.
So explain it to people that don't know what it is.
Well, I don't really know. No,
it's a machine.
Yeah, and it neutralizes
the air.
The air.
Yeah. It eats up the odors.
Yeah.
My son
but it's extremely dangerous.
Yes, you can't be in the house when it's going on.
Yeah.
And it takes 24 hours, correct?
Well, there's different settings and different powers, so you can set it according to the system that you have. But once it's done running, you have to open the windows and let it air out for, depending on how long it ran.
Okay.
It needs to stay open for a certain amount of time with nobody in there.
Yeah.
Because I think it removes the oxygen.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But so have you had to do that quite a bit?
Well, I bought it for one property, but I had other people rent them prior.
Okay.
And I haven't needed it since.
Okay.
Really. but everyone has a different idea on. They're outlawed, I think, in California.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I feel a little nervous about that too.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put anyone in danger.
Right.
It says that it's not dangerous after it's aired out and you've let.
As long as they're not home and they understand,
Right.
My son works on cars. He's an auto body guy, and they have it in a can. So, like, sometimes cars can get really nasty. And so he'll go in there and spray it before he works on it just so he doesn't have to gag through it. So,
well, there are companies here that sell that service to go into the homes and do it. And
I did not
they
know that.
swear up and down it's fine. I have some guy like messaging me on Facebook constantly asking me if I have listings he can work in.
To remove the odors.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's his business,
Yeah.
which is good to know.
Yeah.
Especially like if you have a smoker. I mean, that's a tough one to get out.
Yeah.
Because it's in everything.
Yep.
And, that's a lot of people are sensitive to the smoke. So I think that's really good to know. That's good for sellers to know. So, okay, decluttering, get the odor out, maybe a light painting. I think, I was going to go into the decorating, like the time of year. So last year, I had listings in the fall around Halloween, and I said, let's pack away all the Halloween decorations because it may sit on the market into Christmas. So you don't, you got to think about it aging your pictures too. And like your outside pictures.
Have you ever seen snow in June?
I have on some of the pictures. So, and that's another thing. You can hire your photographer to go back and just do outside pictures.
Yeah.
Which kind of matches up with the season too. So, but that's one thing to be aware about is just all of that as you're listing because you don't want the pictures to be, you don't want people looking at, oh my gosh, this is a Halloween picture and this is December. How long has this house been on the market?
Something must be wrong with it.
Yes, yes. So, so that's probably one of the first most important things I talk with clients about. And then their second question is always, how much is it worth? I mean, usually that's the first question, but
and that also is a moment in time.
yes, 100%. And it's not a Zillow estimate.
No.
So I think, between that, people don't have an idea of what we do to price a house. So I know I take at least a couple hours to do a CMA and I run it through 3 sources.
I do too. And cross-reference.
And then sometimes I get on the phone and call other agents.
I do too.
Yes. And I'm like, hey, does this feel right or whatever? And
especially if it's something unique.
yes, yes.
I have a buyer right now who, can I say this?
Yeah.
They've written an offer on a home that was owned by the Amish.
Right.
So trying to find comparables
Because
to
there
help
is
them
no running water, right?
Yeah.
No, is there air conditioning? No air, no heat?
There's nothing.
Is there a heat source?
There's no lights. There's no power. There's no, the septic is pumped from an air pump.
So
There's nothing.
do they have a listing agent or are they FSBO?
They are listed with an agent from a different market.
So have you asked them how they came to the price? Because sometimes I'll say, hey, do you have CMAs that,
If I can't justify it, then I might ask.
yeah.
Yeah.
So your buyer, are they wanting to go in and install all this stuff? I mean, that's going to be.
Well, something has to happen because they have a loan. And for it to pass the appraisal.
Right. It's got to have that stuff.
Those major components need to be in place. So, yeah, we did ask for the seller to do that.
Okay. Oh, wow. So the sellers, you're asking them to put in the heat because it doesn't have to have air, but it does have to have heat.
Yes.
and water.
Well, there's a private well
Oh, okay.
with a well pump, but like there's some things are ran on battery. It's going to take some adjustments to get the loan closed.
Yeah.
And we're trying to be respectful
of course.
people's cultures and religions, and so it's kind of putting them in a really uncomfortable situation to have to do these things to get the house sold. But unfortunately, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And they understand that.
Yeah.
So we're working together, and the agent has been good to work with, and we're trying to figure things out. But it is very time consuming, and there's a lot of waiting time and a lot of patience involved, because every time something has to be signed or I mean, we don't even have something together yet, but he has to go. He's got like a 2.5 hour drive from where he's at to the house.
The buyer or
the agent.
The agent.
And then to drive all the way back.
Okay.
And then to send the document to me for us to quickly make a decision, send it back to him where he has to drive back. And then, they don't do business on Sundays and they work late hours. And, it's a very unique situation.
Yeah. Well,
I'll have to, when I come back, I'll tell you how that ended up.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. Part two.
She does this to me just to get back. Love it. Okay, so we're talking about CMAs. A lot of people don't know what that is. That's market analysis. So it's where we take the recently sold houses, find the one most comparable to your house, and kind of see where it sold at.
Yeah.
So, things...
Not including active competition or pending properties, because we don't know what they have closed at.
Exactly. And sometimes I will call, if a property is pending, I will call that agent and just say, can you tell me what it sold for? Sometimes they'll tell us, sometimes they won't,
Because by the time they've closed
yes,
and your appraisal's up, it
could be
used
different
as a comparable.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. So it's very time consuming to do that. And some agents will run it through like AI or look at the Zestimate and then I made the mistake of doing that one time because my clients had come into my office and they came in to go look at a house, and I wanted to meet them at the office first. So they were going to buy first. Mm-hmm. And then we got talking and said, what would our house sell for? Mm-hmm. And I ran their address through the program. And it came out $30,000 higher. Well, I made the mistake of doing that in front of them. So they looked at the highest price, and I said, this is an estimate. I haven't had a chance to hand do this yet.
Had you stepped foot in the house?
No.
Because now we're back around to odors.
Well, that updates
you can't
everything
see
else.
The smell.
Yes, and that theirs didn't. But,
to you.
Yeah, well, true. But they had built the home themselves and kept impeccable care of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a wonderful home. However, it only had one bathroom and things like that affects the value. Mm-hmm. And, when I ran it through the AI program.
They built a house with one bathroom?
Yes.
Okay.
But they had owned it, 50 years, I think.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. How many square feet?
Yeah.
Approximately.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But, the mistake that I made was they looked at that top price and they could not get that out of their heads.
People get fixated.
They do. And so, when I came in to their home for the listing appointment, I mean, we found a house for them, then they wanted to move first, then sell the house. Mm-hmm. So when I went in, my comparables were considerably less.
Yeah.
And so they just, hey, this is where we want to do it, was the top, what they saw in my office. And we did. And we sat on the market through winter. It was the worst. And we ended up like considerably lowering the price, and it sold right away once we did. Mm-hmm. But, I never did that mistake again to do that in front of people because, believe it or not, AI can be wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, they had, this estimates there and everything. I just found out the owner of Zillow that does the Zestimates, actually his house, his own home, he had to sell for considerably less. So
interesting.
Zillow doesn't even trust Zillow, it's, but unfortunately that's what the public has to kind of compare for themselves first. Mm-hmm. And then, that's why you hire us, because we are boots on the ground. We know how homes are selling. We're writing offers. We know how much we're writing for less than ask. Mm-hmm. Every day I'm seeing a lot of, our hot sheets are like a lot of price decreases.
Yes.
So
the weekend it got really cold. It just went down.
Yes. And weather can affect that, So what? Okay, so you sit down with clients. I like you. You had a saying, or like a way of kind of showing them fish in a pond. You'd showed me that one time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Kind of explain that, because I think that is brilliant, and it just hits where people can understand that. So if you price it too high.
I think it's a diagram that just kind of shows like, okay, if your house are the fish jumping in the pond of all of the homes for sale and you're overpriced, you'll just sink to the bottom and sit there. But if you want to just swim across the top and get to the other side, you have to be reasonable, basically.
Yeah. Because and sometimes it just takes the right buyer to come along. And it's hard, basically your house is worth what a person's willing to pay for it. Mm-hmm. So it's, even though we do these hours of CMAs and sweat bullets over it, sometimes it's, you may get a lower offer.
And what it will appraise for, too.
The appraisal, yeah, because people can only get a loan for the appraisal amount. Mm-hmm. So, and I think that is, I think a lot of sellers don't realize that, mm-hmm. And I think also we're still in 2023 mind-wise, or,
Absolutely.
And people are like, but my neighbor's house sold for XYZ. And, well, that was 2 years ago. It's no longer the case. I think, too, older people, the old way was to list your house a little bit higher. So when you started negotiating.
Right, yeah.
And that's not really a thing anymore either.
That's not really how it goes anymore, yeah.
No, unless the house has been sitting for a while, then you might. But it's, for the most part, it's, that art of negotiation is kind of, that's just not the way it's done, is what I've found anyway. So, so to kind of telling your sellers that is, so also FSBOs. So I just read last week that FSBO sales are way down. People are not trying to sell their homes as much by themselves anymore.
Okay.
Why do you think that is?
I personally think, this is what I see. I have buyers that do contact me with those properties, and I do my best to show those properties.
I do too, yes.
And I don't really treat them any differently than I would a home on the market.
Right.
Except for you're dealing with the seller instead of the listing agent.
Yeah.
And when I call, I usually ask them, are you willing to work with a buyer's agent? Because some people are just, they just won't allow it. They're not going to do it.
Right.
They don't want you to bring your client. They don't want to pay, may pay our
Commission.
fees. But even outside of that, I usually just tell the buyer, if they are willing to allow us over to look at the home, that's where I start.
Yeah.
And then I show the home, and then I usually just try to educate them on all of things that can happen if nobody is representing them on their side. It's just kind of hard to trust somebody when there's not a professional involved.
It is. And they don't have the standards that we have. They don't have the rules we have.
But they do have to follow the laws.
They do, but I think a lot of them don't know.
They don't know.
Yeah.
I recently had one under a contract that just decided they didn't want to sell.
Okay. What happened? So you guys are literally under contract.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
I mean, how far into it were you?
The buyers were heartbroken.
Had your buyers done inspections?
No, they had not.
Okay.
So it happened fairly early,
Quickly.
but still.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have, the appraisal wasn't done, but it was ordered.
Wow.
So if that would have been done, the
Your
buyers would have had to pay for that.
And that's about $700, $600.
Yeah, depending. Yeah.
On your lender. So I think too, I know they don't realize they've got to be at every showing, and the showings have to be all hours of the day. That's, you know what I mean? I think it would be really hard. I think they're finding out, well, for one thing, we have 80% of the buyers. So just agents to agent, we have 80% of the buyers. So when you put your house on the market as your, as a FSBO, you're not getting that kind of traffic. I think, too, the paperwork. The paperwork would intimidate me if I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? But I also think they're finding out that they're not saving that much money.
Well, I don't even understand the whole thing, because if they're using homes listed by agents as comparables and buyer and seller agent fees are being taken out of that total,
Right.
is it really comparable?
Yeah, I agree. I know.
Often the 7% of the purchase price is being taken out of that total net proceeds.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
how are the for sale by owners comparing with if they're using the homes listed by agents as comparables? It's not really even.
Yeah. I don't know. But I thought that was very interesting that less people are selling by themselves. I think but that's good for us. I think this past year, realtors have gotten kind of a bad rap between all the lawsuits and everything. So that to me was really interesting.
This is a hard job, and people don't understand how much work it is until they're in that position.
That's 100% true.
If they're selling on their own, and like you said, if they're running around trying to meet people, and then doing everything on top of a full-time job.
Exactly. That, getting kids out of the house, dogs out of the house,
And they're probably moving or have moved.
Yes.
So now they live out of town or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they, I think they're realizing how much we really do as far as that goes. Paperwork, the inspection period, the IPI, where we go in and we request the repairs, and, when people get an appraisal back and it might be less, what do you do? So I think people are realizing realtors' worth.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
The value.
Yeah. So you brought up net proceeds. that when I first started real estate, I'm like, what is a net proceeds sheet? You know, it costs a lot of money to sell your house, and people don't realize it.
It does.
I had a client that bought a home and with her fiance, and then they broke up like within 6 months after owning the home. And she found quickly she couldn't afford it by herself, and she just wanted to sell it. And so I sat down with her with a net proceeds sheet and realized she can't afford to sell.
Yep.
So things that go into that are taxes, commission to clients or to the realtors, other things that you, what do you put in there? So maybe staging is in there, maybe, photography we pay for, but.
Hiring an escrow company.
Hiring escrow, right? Well.
And then tax revenue stamps or whatever.
Yes, your tax stamps. Obviously, your mortgage.
Your
has to be
mortgage.
paid off first.
HELOCs.
Yes. There we go. I'm trying to go down the sheet and I'm like drawing a blank. But when the rubber meets the road, and that I always take a net proceeds sheet to a listing appointment. Do you as well? And then go over that right away with them, or?
I usually kind of do like a 2-part thing where I'll just go look at the house first and then I'll kind of go home. I usually do like run some basic numbers before I go, but I don't really like to show it to them because of what we were just talking about. Yeah. Because I want to like step foot in the house, see the house, smell the house, and stand in the yard.
I don't give
the
like final number until it's like time to almost put it on the market because
things change.
Well, they do, and seasons change, and I just had clients met them in March, ran a little, and I didn't give them an exact number, but I ran a little, CMA quickly. Did not give them an exact number, told them what they needed to do to get the house ready, everything. They did not call me back until September, and they had met another agent. That's fine. They came back in September to my office. We ran through, and my comparables had literally changed $15,000 from early spring to later fall. And, that happens all the time. Yeah. And they had it appraised in January, but appraisals only really last 6 months. So, I'm like, but call your appraiser, see if he'll do it again, and, we'll go from there. But I think, too, sellers are not aware of the fees that they pay at closing.
Right.
Yeah. For your legal team, you have to bring your title up to snuff.
Updating abstract. I was going to mention that.
Yeah. So that's also included in that as well. But what updates, I get this a lot too, what updates give you the best return? So I have people that are like wanting to put granite on their countertops and, they want to add another or recarpet a room or, what do you tell your clients about that?
I think it really depends. I think every home has its own...
Like things that they have to...
Yeah. I mean, you can't just like... I guess you can try to put it in a box and if you Google it or something, they might say like bathrooms or kitchens or whatever. But I think it really depends on like each property and what is going on.
Well, I think too, they mix up kind of updates to what's going to bring value.
With the location, the area, there's all these things.
Certain things need to be maintained, but necessarily won't bring more money to you.
Yeah.
So if your roof is 20 years old, you possibly are going to have to replace that because a new buyer, chances are not going to get it insured.
Yeah. And when I came into real estate, I think it was like if the roof is older than 20 years, it might be hard to cover with insurance. And
Yeah.
now they're saying like 15 or like 10 even.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Insurance is getting wild.
Well, it is. The other thing coming down the pike are the lead pipes in the house. Mm-hmm. So you did a little research on that. If you do own a home that you think possibly has lead pipes, go to Cedar Rapids, the city website. Mm-hmm. They have a wonderful demonstration on there. She tells you how to test your pipes to see. It's just like rubbing a quarter on it and, seeing if it's lead.
I'm laughing because I had this client one time. He had a whole backpack. I thought it was his man bag. I didn't say anything, whatever, man bag, whatever. But he had all these gadgets in it, right? Like, so from room to room and house to house, he was like digging his bag, pulling out like cups, putting the cup on the wall, listening in the wall. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm listening for termites. I'm like, what? Is that a thing? Yeah. I mean, he had marbles. He was like trying to roll the marbles, see if the floor was even. Magnets. He had all kinds of stuff. So I was in the basement with him one of these times, and my phone rang. I needed to answer it, but I was just going to tell him, I will call you back. I'm in a showing. So I just turned around quickly and I said, hey, I'm in a showing. Can I call you back? I turn around. This guy has a string saw.
A string saw?
He has pulled a string saw out of his bag and he's going like this.
On a pipe.
I'm like, what are you doing? You can't do that. I'm like, what are you doing? He said, I'm trying to see if it's shiny. I want to know if it's a lead pipe. And I'm like, no, that is not, we cannot do that. We need to leave that to the inspector.
Yeah.
So you really have to watch what they're doing all the time. I mean, you can just turn around for a second and it could be sawing the pipe in half.
So did it have lead pipes?
No.
Okay.
It was
did
galvanized.
It have termites?
No. But he did buy the house and he did get an inspection.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay. Had he been an inspector before, or had he just been like an investor and he just knows houses?
No. Young guy. Just.
He
was trying to be vigilant.
Chat GPT'd it.
Yeah.
What do I do when I look at a house?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. But so this is probably going to be a thing if your house has lead pipes.
Well, I'm a little confused because when I was reading that website,
yeah,
they have this diagram, like a map, and they're showing what has already been determined. So you can test it yourself and then take a picture of it and send your results in, and then they can map it or whatever.
Yeah.
Record it. But it's showing where the lead pipes are, galvanized pipes are and stuff. But when I've had inspections, inspectors have said if it's galvanized, it's fine.
Yes.
But I noticed in the map, they're kind of combining those galvanized and lead together. Inspectors told me they've only had one true lead pipe in the last 10, 15 years they've been inspecting homes. So I didn't think it was like a super common thing. But when I was looking at the map on the city website, it looks like it's everywhere. But they are combining the galvanized and lead. So,
Well, I know I talked to a homeowner yesterday, and she said she received a letter that said her house may have it. Mm-hmm. However, she said she's already replaced all the piping in her house. So that's that's good that they're letting you record it and prove that you don't have it. And right now, so I just sold, it was a 1920s house, and my buyer, we had a sewer scope, and he was asking the sewer scope guy, hey, does this have lead pipe? Whatever. And it didn't.
it is combined. I'm just checking.
Okay.
Galvanized and lead is combined as one here on the map.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
Well, no. So did you read also that if you do need your pipes replaced, that the city will help finance them at 7% interest? Mm-hmm. So that might just be something to have in the back of your mind if you own older house. Does it say the dates on there? Because I'm drawing a blank on the dates too.
Well, another thing I was interested in was, like it could be sections. Like you could have replaced this much, but this much wasn't replaced or whatever. So you can't like test in one spot and just assume it's nowhere. Because pieces could have been changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking like how many owners through the years, and you necessarily don't know what each owner has done.
Yeah.
So, but so far it hasn't, at least with my transactions, it hasn't become a thing. But, for future sellers, you may want to hone in on that and just see, because we've gone through the Orangeburg thing where, and it's the house, the 1920s house. Actually, the sewer pipe was not Orangeburg, but it was broken. It was cracked. We had to.
You got to be very careful how you word certain things.
What do you mean?
When you're writing a contract, sometimes.
What do you mean? Be specific.
Like as far as sewer.
Oh, yeah. You mean with the Orangeburg thing?
Well, if you just say if it's Orangeburg, you have to replace it or something. But
yeah.
One time, it didn't end up happening, but I had someone come back. It was cracked, broken, right?
Yeah.
And they said, well, you didn't say if it was cracked or broken.
Oh,
you said if
okay.
it was Orangeburg. And it's like, but the purchase agreement itself was protected in a way too. So we resolved it or whatever.
Yeah,
but they were, some people try to get really
out of that.
You got to watch that sometimes, how you word things.
Yeah. Well, they were happy to put XYZ money towards it, the sellers, and they'd only lived in the home 9 months. And they didn't realize when they bought the house, they were from out of state. Their agent at the time did not tell them they could do a sewer scope.
So
they didn't have one done.
Oh my gosh.
So then 9 months later, they need to relocate for their jobs. They have to sell their house. And I had the buyer, we come in, we do the sewer scope, we see it's broken. And so they had to help replace it, and it was $9,000. It was not a cheap replace, it was not a cheap fix.
Yeah.
So I felt horrible for them, but, we worked together. Like you said, we worked together. Buyer paid some, they paid some. So, but these, I'm always an advocate for a sewer scope because that's something we can't see walking through a house. And especially in an older house, there's some surprises.
Oh yeah. And then it depends on where it's running. Is it running under a garage? Is it running
This one was
under
running
a
right
tree?
under the sidewalk, all the way to the alley.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, it could have cost more if they would have got in there and replaced and broke the concrete. Then it was going to be another $3,000. So we kind of held our breath. But you also don't want a sewer breaking down on you and backing up into your house either, because that's not a fun thing. So,
and not all of those pipes can be pipe burst.
That's right. Yeah, thank goodness
they're not
this
a
one,
candidate.
This one was, but yeah, that's true. Otherwise, the concrete would have had to be taken out and replaced, and that would have been a lot of money. So
yeah,
a lot of things can happen. That's why inspections are very important. Do you ever recommend sellers pre-inspect?
That's kind of a hard one. I don't usually have the seller do it. I think it's like it's a 50-50 thing.
Yeah. Well, because, my attitude too is the new buyer may be a contractor, or they may come in and just want to redo stuff anyway. So, you maybe spend that money fixing up on stuff and they're going to tear that room apart or whatever.
Well, I recently looked into that because I got an email and it was a little misleading. It said something about like a pre-inspection, $150. And I was like, shh. I called them up. I'm like, $150 for a pre-inspection?
Wow.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
But then I thought, they said, no, that's for the section above. The way that they had it, it was very misleading,
Okay.
But a home inspection for the seller prior to listing is the exact same amount.
So about 800 to 1,000 if you do everything.
Now, if the seller has this inspection and they point out 100 pages worth of things that are wrong with the house, everything has to be
disclosed.
Yeah, anything major has to be disclosed up front.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything, really. I don't know. I don't
That's a good
see
point.
if that's really a good idea.
Yeah.
If you're trying, from the sellers.
Yeah. I just wondered. I mean, I've never had anybody do it. I've had maybe 2 sellers ask me, should we do it? And their homes were in wonderful condition. They had maintained it, kept it up, Some people are just, they want to be prepared. They don't want surprises but it is out there for people if they want to do it, if they don't.
Yeah.
It's really their personal choice.
It's their decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I don't have any feeling either way on any of that. So,
yeah.
What do you think hurts a home's value the most?
Well, besides what we've already talked about with cleanliness, I think the landscaping is a big thing. Maybe not just the curb appeal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or are you talking about value? Or are you talking about what a buyer?
I think value because, people, they want to get top dollar. We want to get them top dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the example I'm thinking too was, and you came to the listing appointment with me, it was a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little home. It really was. But as we pulled up, there was, you bring in the landscaping, and
curb appeal.
Curb appeal, they had let the lawn go, the overgrowth, there was a vine growing all over the house. There was a nest.
The front of the house had a mural.
The concrete, there was a huge divot in the driveway, like it had just busted apart. Now that's a lot of money.
The whole thing needed to be ripped out.
It did. The stairs up to the house, it was a raised ranch, so you had quite a few stairs to head up to the house. They were all sunken in and overgrown. And
major safety issue.
And so, we had to sell the house. It was like going to be going into foreclosure and things like that. But it truly affected the house by several $1,000s to where, we could get paid for it. So I would say concrete work on that was 20 to 30 grand. But when it's a safety issue, and this was an estate sale, so, we could sell it as is.
Yeah.
And have a contractor come in. He obviously had to buy it at a very reduced rate of what the value is. But that to me right off the bat was, if families that would move into that house necessarily couldn't afford to redo all the concrete work and stuff.
Oh gosh, if you have to call an excavator out there, you're talking
big bucks.
Yeah.
Another thing too that I do with sellers and buyers is the trees on their property.
Oh man.
I know you have experience with that.
Oh man. So expensive.
It is.
Yeah.
It is to take down. And I know you even you didn't even really realize the trees were in that bad of shape.
Yeah. Well, trees can look full and beautiful and have all of the leaves and turn colors, but the inside can be completely rotten. And if you don't know that, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
They can look healthy.
Mm-hmm. And who can get up there to look inside the tree?
You could do that when you're purchasing a home. You could request a tree inspection or like an arborist to evaluate it.
Yeah.
with a contingency or whatever, because, gosh, they start cutting those branches and that inside is completely rotten. It costs 3 to 5, 6. Who knows? I mean, depending on the tree and how big the roots are and where it's at and how far they have to haul the wood. Like, is it in the front by the street or is it way in the back? Is it on an acreage? Do they have to cross a ravine? I mean, it can be very expensive.
Yeah.
$5,000.
And didn't he come
tree?
to you and say that if your insurance audits you, comes by,
Yep.
they will not insure you because these trees are dead?
They have to go down.
Yeah. Because the house that I listed, the family member did tell me that several times the insurance company wanted him to cut down that tree.
Yeah.
So, that's another expense to think about when purchasing a home or...
A lot of buyers don't think about it whatsoever.
No.
I mean, you really have to bring that up.
Yeah, I agree. But sellers too, it's like, this was an estate, so it didn't. But if it was a seller that wanted to get top dollar, it would be, if your insurance company has told you to get this tree down, you might want to just get it down before we sell.
And it's a hard decision because trees bring value.
They
too.
do. They do. We had
So
to
it's
take
like-
2 big trees out of our house, and it was devastating because they're part of the
Yeah.
look. They cooled our house in the summer, and
Yep.
even when we took them down, we had repainted all of our inside of the house. It changed the color in the house.
Oh, yeah.
You
Because
know-
the lighting's different. And
Yeah.
lighting and paint. And,
Yeah. So you don't think about that stuff. Luckily, I still like it, but if I didn't, that would drive me crazy.
Yeah. Then you got to look at your neighbor, too.
It's so true. Well, we put 2 up right away. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but they can't be 75 years old.
Well,
either.
exactly. Right. I know.
I know.
It was a sad day. I didn't realize how much I was really attached to those trees. But
Yeah. But it really becomes a safety issue because if they fall in the street or if they fall in the house or fall in the neighbor's house
Yeah,
or even
for
just
sure.
if they fall in a fence or a car.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's even a limb can do a lot of damage.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We almost all of our trees have had something just with the storms we've had and stuff like that. It just
I mean, even trimming is very expensive.
It is.
Like $400 per tree
yeah.
just to get the canopy up.
I agree. But so these are all things. What other things do you tell your sellers to get them ready for the house? Do you, when you put it on the market, do you give them lead time? Like, let's say they still live in the house. I usually try to give them like an hour lead time through showing time.
If they're living there, it kind of depends on their situation. If it's like a one person living in the home, sometimes they can just get out quickly. But if it's a large family and they have a newborn baby or
Yeah.
little kids, 3 or 4 of them and 2 dogs, or they work at home, I mean, it depends on every situation. Yeah.
Well, and two, I always kind of bring up the fact, hey, can you get a bridge loan and move out first?
If it's not a go and show, it is much harder to get sold, I think. Because people are out, they might schedule one showing.
Right.
They go out, they meet them there, and then the buyer says, hey, I just saw this one come up. Can we go look at this? And it's
100%.
like, I don't know.
Let me find out.
Yeah.
And then you have to, you request it, and sometimes they don't see the email or the text coming in, so it takes a little bit of time. But
Or if it's a few hours
yeah,
and the buyer can't wait or you can't wait or, just whatever, a lot of times it just doesn't get looked at
yeah,
ever.
yeah.
Not the next day or whatever, because the next day there's new listings, and then that's water under the bridge, and you've missed your chance to get the house shown.
Yeah.
It's hard, but sometimes it's necessary.
Well, it is. I mean, I always go through it with my sellers. Just, I do let them know that it's not for the weak-hearted to have your house on the market.
Oh,
It
yeah.
has to be show ready all the time. You can't. And it's tough. It's tough with kids, with animals. You have to have it clean and, you unfortunately have to be on the buyer's schedule. So if it's a 7:00 at night showing, it's time for the kids to go to bed.
Yeah.
It's hard too. And I do try to be aware of that as a buyer agent too. Like if the house is, okay, let's see what, if we can get in there a little bit earlier or whatever. Just so that's one thing to really prepare the sellers for too, is the showings. But also, can we maybe get out of the house first? Can we do that bridge loan? Can we buy on contingent, rent the house? I've done that too, where they've moved out and rented the house. And then, it's contingent on their house selling. And I don't like to do that.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but everybody's situation is different. And I always try to give them, as much information as they can, and it's ultimately their decision. So,
yep.
And where their finances are. So get the house on the market. You get an offer, what do you do at that point? Call? Do you meet? Do you Skype? What do you, or is there even Skype anymore? Zoom, FaceTime.
I usually call them immediately
Yeah.
and then plan a time. If it just depends on the situation.
I don't tell them, though, until I have that offer in hand.
Oh, yeah.
I've made that mistake before, too.
Yeah, I think we all have.
You get that agent that calls you, hey, I'm going to be sending you an offer. Oh, great. And you, hey, we're getting an offer in. Woohoo. And it's like 6 hours goes by.
It turns into a whole meme. 2 hours go by. 3 hours go by. Are you sending that offer? Are you going to send that offer? Are you going to send that offer?
Yeah.
6:00 in the morning next day.
Yeah.
Have you sent that offer? I don't have anything in my box.
Oh, they've decided not to. And then you have to go and tell your seller.
Yeah.
So I usually wait to get it in my inbox before I make the phone call. But so things as the seller agent, that when you get an offer, what do you look at? I look at the lender and kind of educate them about what kind of loan it is. If it's FHA, they may have to do some things on their house extra. So, because they can't have, for FHA, USDA, VA, no paint, no lead paint, peelings.
Yep. No broken windows, no mechanisms, handrails, stairs.
Yep. So it's always good to educate them. And I usually do that at the listing appointments.
Yeah, but it's so much information.
It is.
Packed.
I know.
I mean, you can't expect them to remember everything. So that's where, at the listing appointment, you can give them some information, educate them, and let them make their choices. But then you have to reiterate everything again, because now this is the focus. Before, there's so much going on, they're probably not going to remember it all.
Yeah, that's true. I remember we bought a house in February. It was a VA loan, middle of February, and the sellers had painted that fall and scraped the paint and didn't pick up the paint peelings, and the appraisal came back. They had to go and chip the paint peelings out of the ice. The sellers did. It felt horrible for the VA loan. So, those are things to be aware about too. But for the most part, usually those loans go through pretty good.
Have you ever seen listings on the market where it says it's taking cash, conventional, VA, USDA, FHA, and you get to the house and there's like the copper water lines are just hanging like this, and they're not connected. They're just hanging. There's there's a boiler system in 10 pieces on the floor. There's wires hanging out everywhere. And it's this won't even take a conventional loan.
Right.
Why is it listed VA, FHA?
Well, I think
VA,
agents don't know. I think agents don't know.
I do too.
The listing agent.
And I call him. I said,
right. Hello.
Can this even take this is not even going to pass conventional.
Well, and I always, if I do have FHA or VA, I call them and say, are they willing to put a handrail in? if there's not one, ahead of time, ahead of writing that offer, because you may have a seller that says, I can't or not able to.
Yeah.
If
it's something small, usually I feel like, between everybody, it can get handled one way or another.
Yeah.
Like a handrail. Okay. But is it 2 years of life left on the roof? Because that's a big deal.
I thought it was 3.
3? Is it 3? Okay.
I could be wrong. I
Yeah.
could be wrong. I
Yeah.
thought it was 3.
That's a big one. And the concrete.
Yeah. Yes, the concrete can't be raised more than 2 inches, right?
Yeah.
So that's the other
Tripping
one.
hazard.
So, no, that's good to educate your sellers, but as a buying agent too, you need to be aware of that when you walk into a house.
And then it depends on the appraiser too, because I've had some homes passed like near downtown Cedar Rapids on VA loans, and it's like there's paint peeling everywhere. Like you're expecting them. You've already prearranged for the work to be done. Like your seller has agreed to get the stuff done to get it sold or whatever, and then they don't call it out, and you're like,
right,
what?
I know,
whatever.
It's all subjective. It's all
And then other times you got somebody who's just nitpicking the house apart.
Yes,
but things like you didn't even know existed.
Right, right. No, and that's true. And then, have you ever had an appraisal come in lower, and you're the listing agent? So, have you ever had that scenario?
Never until this year.
Oh,
I had one come back $1,000, just $1,000, and when I called the lender, he said, "You know what?" He said, I've, been lending for 10 years or whatever. He said, I have rarely ever seen this happen up until this year. He said, I've had like 14 of these happen this year. So,
I've talked to other agents that have had that too.
They must be cracking down.
Well, what one explained to me was they're trying to price correct because of all the
Because of 2020.
Yes, because we wrote so many offers over asking.
Yeah.
And then that really affected things, and now we got it. We're just correcting it now.
Yeah. I have a seller right now who, when I gave her the estimate of proceeds, she said, I've been living there for 4 years. I thought I would be walking away with more than this.
Yes.
And then I had to explain the whole situation. And after that, I had to find things online to back up what I was saying. So not that she didn't trust me, but just,
Yeah.
So she could see it from multiple reliable sources that it is what it is.
It is.
You significantly overpaid a few years ago, and here are 4 comparables.
I know.
And it is what it is.
I know. It's
sad and it's heartbreaking.
Well, it is heartbreaking, and I feel bad for the people that have to sell now and can't really kind of ride that out a little bit, but it is. It's hard to deliver that information to them.
It really is.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do one final question that I get almost all the time is what time of year. In fact, I was at the dentist and he's like, "Hey, what time is the best time to sell a house?" And I'm like, "Let's do it right now."
Yeah.
No, I said, if you got time, it was his parents' house and they had to move her to a home. And I said, if you got time to go in and kind of, clean it up and stuff, do it in April.
Yeah, or whenever the market's up.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, well...
Who can time the market, though?
It's hard. So for the last... You got to do it when it's right for you.
Yeah.
That's when it's the
what
right
I said,
time.
too, after. Yeah. I'm like, really? It's got to be right for
Yeah.
you.
Everyone says, it's spring is the best time, or this is the best time, or that, But
then if everybody goes on spring, then you've got way more inventory that you're contending with.
Yeah.
You know, think about maybe your house really, you just sold one that her gardens were absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Best time to put it on, middle of summer, when that baby is in bloom.
Yes.
And, you know.
And I have one upcoming with an in-ground pool.
Okay, so there's another thing.
But I would assume that would be like a best in summer where you could really showcase how beautiful that is. But they need to get it sold now.
Exactly.
Not this summer. So you just got to do the best you can.
Yeah, you do. And I always think winter too. Like if you're not living in the home, keep in mind you are still the owner of that home. So you still have to maintain the yard. You still have to maintain the snow, ice, all of that. So just keep that in mind too. And periodically visit that vacant home. I mean, I usually keep an eye on it. Can't be there all the time. Last year that was the day of closing. The buyers backed out. Day of closing. My clients were moving out of state. It was December. And, they literally stayed in a hotel for the closing.
Oh my gosh.
So.
And then the buyers backed out?
Yes. And we had to put it back on the market. And they didn't, all their family was in another state. They had nobody, So I did have them have a friend with a key. Because I said, I don't want to be the only one in case, I need her to also be watching the house as well. And they had turned the water off.
A property management company might be a good option if you don't know anyone.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
because
that.
Then somebody else is, responsible.
Yes. I don't want to be completely responsible. And, I had them hire shovelers and people that would get over there with the salt and things like that. But they did turn the water off. And so when we sold it and they were going to inspect it, we had to go over there and turn the water on. And she's like, can you run over when the water guy is there? And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I went into the house and he's out there, turning it on, everything. And I heard a waterfall.
That happened to me too.
And I go running down into the basement and somebody had turned the faucets wide open. And
At a showing.
Yeah. Didn't bother to turn it back down. And then the toilet was running, like the thing in the back was busted and it was running.
Oh my God.
And I couldn't shut it off at
the site.
Yes. Yeah. And the house was vacant. So there was luckily an empty bottle of hand wash there. And I grabbed it and I lifted the toilet thing and I shoved it in there to stop. And then, of course, I called a plumber right away, but we got her taken care of. So those are things to think about.
Yeah. I had a guy who was he had moved out. I sold him the house like 2 years before.
Okay.
And then he just called me. He said, I moved to Texas, sell the house. It was like,
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we found a buyer, and the buyer had ordered an inspection. It was actually a dual agency contract, so I was representing both sides. And I showed up with the buyer for the inspection. I showed up early before the buyer, and they were just finishing up the inspection. And the inspector turned the water on, and upstairs was going. There was a leak in the shower, but the seller never marked it on the disclosure and never told me.
Oh, no.
And with the water off, how would I know?
Right. Exactly.
So water was running out, and of course, this was an old home, so the plaster ceiling came down.
Oh, my gosh. Oh.
Yeah.
Did you sell the house? Did he?
They closed. Yeah. I was able to find someone to fix it. I had to find somebody who could work on plaster, but he did a beautiful job.
Good.
I was like shocked.
Which also makes my point why that agent is so valuable.
Yes.
you just said, I got somebody right in there to fix it.
Yeah.
If you're selling this house by yourself, you're on your own. You know,
Yeah.
with a realtor, we come with a team.
Well, just think about this. I just closed one recently, and they had a full inspection. I mean, they ordered every single inspection possible. They closed the deal. They didn't move right away, but they had painters go in, paint everything, and then they moved in. And as soon as they got in there, they called. They said 2 fireplaces weren't working, 2 ovens weren't working, 2 toilets were running, and they couldn't shut either one of them off at the site. They were both broken. It was like, what? Oh. And I'm like digging for the inspection. You know, I pull it up and I'm looking. I'm like,
yeah.
I was baffled. But within 2 to 3 hours,
I had people in there.
A licensed electrician over there. I had a guy fixing the toilets. I had the top appliance guy in town literally dropped what he was doing, went over there to work on the appliances.
That's amazing.
And I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, and they found some mold that was not mentioned in the inspection. So I got somebody over there to go up in the attic and
see what's going on.
Yeah, I think it was condensation issue.
Oh yeah,
so they
probably
insulated it and
within a day.
Within a few hours.
Yeah,
I had like 4 or 5 professionals, licensed people over there like that.
Yeah, well, that says a lot for you.
Yeah,
because you know it's a lot of. I mean, it's just so valuable to have those connections and those professionals that, you know, because of your reputation, they're willing to help you out too. And
they had called around before they called me. They called me as last resort.
Oh, your buyers.
Yeah, and they were saying, this is 2 weeks out. This is 3 weeks out. We've called every list, you know, every single person down Google. Nobody's answering because this is like right before the holiday too.
Yeah, exactly.
Where people were super bombed, packed, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Karra says, hold my beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you have clients for life because of what you did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. All right. Well, I think this has been amazing.
Yeah.
How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can just call my cell phone number at 319-961-5143, or you can get a hold of me on Facebook, Instagram.
Okay. Under Karra Garcia.
Yep.
Karra.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you. I really appreciate your time today. And take care. Have happy holidays.
You too.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Addressing the Corridor. New episodes drop the first Monday of each month, so be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also find updates about the podcast, as well as local real estate at crrealtor.com, or find me on social media platforms under the name Lisa Coots Schooley. That's Lisa, Coots, Schooley. Finally, whether you are buying, selling, or just real estate curious, remember, I'm here to help you make confident, informed decisions, one address at a time.